Thank you, Mr. Betts, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. And I'd like to, I'm very pleased to say that I'm pleased to have secured this debate. It's hard to measure the true economic value of the technology sector in the UK, but what I think we all agree on is the huge importance of the sector for economic growth, productivity and society as a whole. This importance is only going to grow in the future. So nurturing and supporting our domestic technology sector is absolutely vital. Now, to be clear, as a Conservative, I believe in the importance of competition as a driver for innovation and economic growth. And true competition means we need to challenge monopolies. Competition is vital for our tech sector if it is to thrive in the future, or else we will see innovative firms leave the UK. An area I want to particularly focus on today is our domestic app ecosystem. The UK mobile app ecosystem generates 28 billion in GVA annually, equivalent to nearly 1% of GDP. It also supports around 400,000 jobs, the highest of any country in Europe. However, despite this huge contribution to our economy, app developers face significant challenges. Apple and Google control 95% of all mobile operating systems in the UK, and the CMA formally designated them with strategic market status in October 2025. Now, this doesn't mean they just run the app stores. They have control over far more than that. They control what developers can say within them. They block developer communications with consumers, hide customer details from developers, and prevent developers from telling users when something is new, something is better or cheaper, and all the while taking up to 30% of every transaction. This doesn't just stifle the sector domestically, it pushes up prices for ordinary consumers and drives British innovation overseas. We simply cannot afford to allow such a growing industry to be lost. Of course, I'll give way.
On the side.
Congratulate the Honourable Member for Bromley and Biggin for securing today's important debate on government support for UK-based tech companies, because my Slough constituency is a huge tech and data hub, and indeed has the second largest concentration of data centres anywhere in the world, Sir Clive. Does my honourable friend agree that it would be an act of folly for the government to not designate Slough as an AI growth zone, given that £1 spent there provides much more return for the UK economy, and we as a nation wouldn't want to lose that?
I thank the honourable member for his intervention, and I have a list of government follies here, if he would like me to push them on to. Being serious, I completely agree with him of the importance of the jobs, the importance of the industry, and I'm sure the Minister will like to pick up this when he responds later. Thank you very much. To continue, Mr. Betts, I want to give you an example of some of these platforms, these monopolies. Amazon was forced to remove the buy book button from its Kindle app on iPhones because Apple demanded a 30% cut of every e-book sale. Authors simply cannot afford to forego that 30%. Instead, readers had to, and this is absurd, they had to close the app and log on into the Amazon system separately, complete their purchase, and then reopen the Kindle app. It was only thanks to a court case in the United States which forced Apple's hand that the buy book button returned. Spotify cannot include a subscribe button in its iOS app, or tell users in the app what a subscription costs, or that a cheaper option exists outside the app. UK Spotify Premium subscribers have faced 3 price rises in 2 years, partly because Apple's 30% cut has to be absorbed somewhere. Every Spotify user in the UK is paying more, and Apple's rules are a direct reason why. Now, there are many similar cases to this where Apple and Google are inserting themselves directly into the relationship between developers and consumers by forcing developers to use their payment systems. This takes away a consumer's ability to choose their preferred payment method, causes greater friction around issues such as refunds and cancellations, and prevents consumers from properly benefiting from lower prices or discounts. The UK Competition Appeal Tribunal ruled in October 2025 that Apple's payment restrictions were neither necessary nor proportionate for security or privacy purposes. They were designed to eliminate competition, It is as simple as that. Now, it's estimated that removing these restrictions would release 1.75 billion a year currently taken from UK developers and consumers, rising to over 4 billion annually by 2029. That could then go back into British engineering, creative content, and the next generation of app businesses built and scaled here. We can unleash the true potential of these industries. The ability to remove the restrictions and hand UK app developers their rights back already exists in legislation. The Digital Markets, Competition and Consumers Act gave the CMA conduct requirement powers, not just the ability to levy fines, but the ability to mandate specific behaviours. The CMA can end Apple and Google's control over in-app communication, ensuring that developers are free to know their own customers and tell their own customers what their own product costs and where to buy it at the best price. I would ask the Minister to outline what view the government takes on pressing the CMA to issue conduct requirements that protect competition. Another area we must look at is cloud computing. The UK's digital economy is underpinned by cloud computing, but cloud has been increasingly monopolised. The CMA's Cloud Services Market Investigation estimated that Amazon Web Services and Microsoft control 70 to 90% of the UK cloud computing market. This concentration poses a number of dependency risks, including operational, financial, and security vulnerabilities, and also restrict market innovation and customer choice. Just months after the government published its chronic risk analysis, there were 3 global cloud outages within a matter of weeks. In 2 of these, Amazon Web Services and Microsoft were directly impacted, highlighting the risks of over-reliance on limited cloud hosts. Governments, businesses, digital platforms, AI services, and individuals were materially impacted by those outages, with US companies alone suffering losses of between 500 and 650 million. Indeed, the recent CrowdStrike outage has been estimated to have cost the UK economy between 1.7 and 2.3 billion. Competition can be the key mitigation for the UK's digital dependency. And again, it is the CMA that holds the levers to tackle anti-competitive conduct and address the risks of cloud concentration. I am not calling for more legislation or regulation. We don't need it. The Digital Markets, Competition and Consumers Act, brought in by the last Conservative government, has already legislated for stronger digital competition. But slow implementation and weak early enforcement risk squandering a rare pro-growth, pro-SME opportunity. Only a small number of designations have been made so far, and for Google and Apple's mobile ecosystems, the CMA has relied on non-binding commitments rather than imposing binding conduct requirements. These non-binding commitments have no clear statutory basis under the DMCCA, carry no legal consequences if breached, and are not contemplated anywhere in the CMA's published guidance. Their use risks weakening the regime, forcing the CMA to restart enforcement if firms fail to comply, which is precisely the outcome the last government sought to avoid. It is also concerning that a requirement for Google to negotiate fair terms with news publishers has been pushed back by at least 12 months, despite the CMA previously committing to use this power in the first half of the year. So the government must reaffirm that robust digital competition enforcement is pro-growth and central to the UK's industrial strategy. Moreover, the CMA must ensure that there is robust competition enforcement. The levers to achieve this were put there by the last government. It just requires some political will. Because fundamentally, the UK cannot build globally competitive tech firms whilst a handful of dominant platforms control the route to market, the route to search, app stores, mobile ecosystems, cloud, and our key AI infrastructure. The potential for huge economic growth from our tech sector is there, but competition is key. If competition flourishes, we will see more innovation, improved services, and lower costs for consumers.